For years, overpriced listings were annoying, but survivable. You took the listing, waited for the market to respond, pushed for a reduction, and eventually the house usually sold. But now, that strategy can hurt your business. An overpriced listing can drain your time, weaken your credibility with buyer's agents, frustrate your seller, and still sell for less than it should have. So today, we're going to put the real numbers on the cost of taking the wrong listing and talk about how to avoid getting trapped in one in the first place. The market context that changed everything. The overpriced listings were survivable in a seller's market because there wasn't much feedback, inventory was tight, buyers had few choices, and time often fixed the pricing mistakes. For much of the nation, that's not the market we're in now. Redfin reported that sellers now outnumber buyers by about 47%. Realtor.com reports that 17.5% of listings had a price cut in May, while median list price fell 2.4% year over year. The steepest may decline in the data going back to 2017. Realtor.com also said fewer price cuts may mean more sellers are pricing realistically before they list, instead of chasing the market later. That's the key shift. The sellers who price correctly up front are getting rewarded. The sellers who start too high often don't just cut later. Some give up. Redfin reported that 5.8% of the US listings were pulled off the market in April, and relistings were at their highest since mid-2020. So an overpriced listing doesn't just sit. It accumulates stigma. And in this kind of market, strong listing agents stand out. Weak pricing strategies get exposed. By the way, I'm Doug Smart, co-founder and tech stack developer of Smart Agent Alliance, an eXp Realty sponsor team. We help agents work more effectively and efficiently by bringing together the resources from Smart Agent Alliance, the Wolfpack, and eXp Realty into one organized agent portal. Our agents get access to a personalized link page, marketing templates, an agent attraction funnel, elite training, and the systems they need to build both production and revenue share. And because we're part of the Wolfpack, eXp's fastest growing sponsor team with the highest retention, our agents have access to weekly masterminds and one of the strongest support communities at eXp, all for no cost to our agents. The three real costs. The first cost is time. A 90-day overpriced listing isn't neutral. That's 90 days of showings, feedback, seller calls, marketing, open houses, and price reduction conversations that may generate no income. And while you're managing that one difficult listing, you're not working on the buyers, sellers, referrals, and relationships that could actually close. In the worst case, the listing expires and you get paid nothing. The second cost is reputation with buyer's agents. This one is fairly invisible, but it's real. Buyer's agents notice when a listing comes on too high, sits, cuts twice, and still doesn't feel right. That becomes a data point about the property, the seller, and you. The reverse is also true. When agents know your listings are priced well, prepared well, and likely to sell, they take them seriously. They show them sooner, they encourage their buyers to act, they believe your pricing. That reputation compounds. The first cost is the final price. This is the part sellers often miss. Starting high doesn't actually create higher sale price. It often creates a lower one. A listing on the market for 90 days gives buyers leverage they didn't have on day one. They know the seller is frustrated. They know other buyers passed. They know the price has been reduced. So they negotiate from strength. A seller who insists on $575K cuts to $550K and takes $530K in week 10 may have been able to get $545K or $550 in week 2. That's the real cost. Less money, more time, and a weaker negotiation position. Quick thing before we go further, if you find this useful, subscribe. We publish this kind of breakdown every week, and it's the easiest way to make sure the next one finds you. The conversation that changes the decision. Most agents frame the choice as take the overpriced listing or lose it. But that's the wrong choice. The real choices are option A. Take it overpriced. Spend 60 to 90 days managing friction, reduce it later, possibly sell lower, and end with a strained seller relationship. Option B. Have the pricing conversation up front, use the data to support a fair price, take the listing at the right price, sell it faster, and end with a successful seller relationship. Option C. Have the pricing conversation, but let's say the seller refuses to see things your way. Well, you can choose to walk away so you can spend those 90 days you likely would be dealing with managing friction to get listings that have a much better chance of selling. The agents growing right now are comfortable with option C, not because walking away is the goal, it's not, but because a bad listing isn't free. It takes time, energy, credibility, money, and opportunity away from better business. The guardrails that keep you out of trouble. So how do you avoid getting trapped in the wrong listing in the first place? You need guardrails before the listing agreement is signed. First, define the pricing range before you talk strategy. Before you get into marketing, staging, photos, or commission, get clear on the range where the home is likely to sell. Not the dream price, not the let's just try it out price, the realistic buyer range. You can say to the seller, there may be a few different ways to position the home, but if we're outside the range buyers can justify with the data, the market won't reward us for optimism. That keeps the conversation grounded in buyer behavior, not seller hope. Second, separate testing the market from chasing the market. There's nothing wrong with a smart pricing strategy. Sometimes you may choose to start at the upper end of the range, but that's different from starting outside the range and hoping buyers prove you right. Testing the market has a plan. Chasing the market has excuses. So if the seller wants to price aggressively, define what success has to look like. How many showings should you expect? What kind of feedback matters? How quickly should the right buyer respond? Now you're not arguing later. You're comparing the market response to the plan you both agreed to. Third, build in a pricing checkpoint before the home goes live. This is critical. Before the sign goes in the yard, agree on when you'll review the market response. Not after the seller is frustrated. Not after 3 awkward price reduction conversations. Before the listing starts. You might say, if we don't have the right level of showings, feedback, or offer activity by this date, we're going to meet and decide whether the market is telling us the price is wrong. That doesn't force the seller to reduce, but it keeps the seller from being surprised when you bring it up. Fourth, know your own business line before the appointment. This is the one agents avoid because you sit at the kitchen table, decide what kind of listing you're willing to take, how far above the data you'll go, how long are you willing to carry an overpriced listing, how much money are you willing to spend on a price that the market probably won't accept. Because if you decide all of that while you're trying to win the listing, you'll probably talk yourself into a bad decision. The goal isn't to walk away from every hard seller. The goal is to stop pretending every listing is good business. A listing is only an asset if it has a real path to closing. If it doesn't, it's not inventory, it's a liability. If you're ready to see the full EXP SA structure, check out our 18-minute inside look. It's the fastest, clearest breakdown of EXP you'll find anywhere. The link's in the description. And if you want to strategize what your business would look like at EXP, we're happy to talk. Contact info is also in the description. If your seller is still anchored to what homes we're selling for in 2022, check out the video on screen. And if you want to go one step further and build a price reduction plan in your listing process, check out the other one. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.